Welcome. Inward processing relief is an EU duty relief procedure. It allows companies to import goods under duty suspension from outside the customs union to be processed within the union. Processing can be anything from repacking and sorting to the most complicated manufacturing. We begin by looking at the benefits of inward processing relief. You can improve the cash flow by suspending the payment of duties and VAT. Simplify operations by allowing duty unpaid materials on the manufacturing shop floor. And finally, improve margin by avoiding or reducing the payment of duty on dutiable components when the finished product has a favourable or 0% duty rate. Let us explain some key terminology. The possibility to keep goods in duty unpaid status in a customs warehouse does not extend to the manufacturing shop floor. However, the inward processing procedure, IPR, is designed to give businesses within the EU the possibility to process goods imported from outside the customs union before they decide whether to sell the finished products within the union or outside. There are two variants of inward processing relief. The suspension arrangement allows the duty and VAT to be suspended for a given period of time, until either re-export, import into free circulation or expiry of the granted processing and globalization period. Under duty drawback arrangements, duties and VAT needs to be paid upon entry, however, duties can later be claimed back. It is possible to claim the import VAT as input tax. After the processing operations, the processed products can be either re-exported or released for free circulation in the EU. The latter would imply the obligation to pay import duty and taxes, as well as the application of commercial policy measures. In addition, it is also possible to store processed products under customs warehousing or in a free zone. When you use duty unpaid products as components under IPR, they are subject to monitoring by the customs authorities. Consequently, you must document the link between the product components and the finished products. The transit procedure allows you to shift customs handling from the external border to an inland location. The transit procedure must be discharged to create the import declaration needed to begin the inward processing procedure. Similarly, the balance reduction of IPR-controlled goods is made through a re-export sales order process and corresponding export declaration for the compensating product, with reference to the IPR-controlled component's original import declaration. During periodic settlement, you document which quantities of imported components you processed in inward processing and then re-exported or released to free circulation and present this information to the authorities. Settlement matches the products at component level. This requires a precise assignment of which receipts are responsible for which issues. Therefore, the settlement preparation involves exploding the bill of materials for the existing compensating products and determining closing portions from their receipts. If you cannot declare closing portions in settlement for all the components in stocks by the end of the approved processing period, you must, for these components, pay the full amount due, plus compensatory interest. We will now look at a simplified example. Our factory in Germany produces brake systems for cars. We will import the necessary components from China and put them into inward processing relief. The brake system is sold to a customer in the US. We will re-export the compensating product and create the necessary closing portions for the components under IPR. Products that are relevant for the inward processing as a component need to be flagged as IP components in the product master data, in the tab View, Special Customs Procedure. Compensating products needs to be flagged as IP finished product, and also the components must be assigned to the compensating product through the definition of a bill of material. You must request authorization and record it in authorization management to declare and use products in inward processing. In addition, you have to enter the processing periods for the authorization. If you transfer products to inward processing, the system checks whether you have the relevant authorization to carry out the process and uses the authorization to determine the appropriate customs procedure for procedure transitions. We begin the inward processing by quickly creating a purchase order from our supplier in China for the 4 components needed to make a brake system. We order 1 ABS unit, 4 sensors, 2 brake hoses and 4 brake couplings. We save and note the purchase order number. The next step is to create the corresponding inbound delivery. The purchase order is delivered in full. We move to the document header. Under International Trade, we enter the previous document. This is the reference to the transit opened for us by our freight forwarder. When completed, we save and note the inbound delivery number. Using the Change Inbound Delivery app, we perform goods receipt for the inbound delivery. This time, we make a note of the resulting material document number. With the ERP processes completed, We will now focus on the customs processes in GTS. We open the Display Inbound Activities Transit app. It is already filtered on German customs. We select Documents Created Today and press the Execute button. In the process overview, under the Arrival Notification step, we have one transit declaration that requires our attention. We open the declaration and move to the Communication tab. We need to send the arrival notification message to customs and do so by marking the line before we press the small Execute button above. The message is sent electronically to the customs authorities, and we will have to wait for their response message. Back in the process overview, we refresh. We see that our declaration is still under arrival notification but has moved to in process. Since the customs response takes typically just seconds, we refresh once more. The declaration has now moved to conformity check and under open. In the declaration, we see the 4 line items before moving to the Transportation tab. There, we confirm conformity. We move to Communication, selects the conformity message and send it to customs by pressing the Execute button. Back in the process overview, we refresh and see that our declaration is now in process. Seconds later, we refresh once more and see that the transit is no longer on the list since the procedure has been closed. With the transit procedure completed, we are ready to create an import declaration to place the received components under IPR. We kick off the import procedure by opening the Create Customs Declaration After Goods Receipt app. We select the Inward Processing Local Clearance procedure. We enter the material document number from the earlier goods receipt step as selection criteria and execute. The 4 different line items appear in the work list. We select all of them and create customs declaration. Opening the newly created customs declaration, we look at the document flow overview. First, we see the link to the preceding transit documents. Then, under the Document tab, we see the chosen customs procedure. Finally, we end this process step by saving the declaration. It is time to look at the IPR receipt/issue list. This list displays the quantity of IPR stock received in connection with the customs declaration that was just submitted. We will look at this list again after successfully having re-exported the compensating product, the brake system. The re-export of the compensating product will follow the sales order process in ERP, leading up to an export declaration and a reduction in IPR stock according to the bill of material of the brake system. We initiate the re-export and reduce our IPR stock balance by creating a sales order for a customer in Atlanta, Georgia, USA. The order is for 1 unit of our finished product only. As the next step, we generate the subsequent outbound delivery. Finally, we generate the corresponding billing document. It will, in the background, trigger the creation of the export declaration. A look in the receipt issue list shows us that the export of 1 compensating product has reduced our IPR stock balance identical with the necessary components for 1 unit of the brake system. We select one of the lines and press the Originating Document button. This opens up the newly created export declaration. On item level, under the Placement tab, we see the IPR authorization against which the re-export was done. Under the Closing Portions tab, we can see the 4 components that were consumed and the reference to the import declaration that was used originally to bring them into IPR. Mission accomplished. Let us once again look at the benefits of inward processing relief. You can improve the cash flow by suspending the payment of duties and VAT. Simplify operations by allowing duty unpaid materials on the manufacturing shop floor. And finally, improve margin by avoiding or reducing the payment of duty on dutiable components when the finished product has a favorable or 0% duty rate. The views, information or opinions expressed are solely those of the individuals involved and not those of the individual's employer, or any other group or individual. Thanks a lot for watching. Please comment, like and subscribe. More videos like this are coming shortly. See you then.